Everyone's talking about the situation regarding Battlefield 6 and the studio and the workers being laid off and all that. And it's something that caught a lot of people, including myself, by surprise because of how successful the game is and the fact that with that type of success in terms of like revenue and copies sold worldwide, it doesn't really make any sense whatsoever as to why EA decided to lay off a couple of workers, unless it's something, I guess, personal or because I'm thinking like it couldn't be anything performance related because for the most part, everyone said that Battlefield 6 was 10 times better than Black Ops 7. It was one of the best shooter games that we've gotten in years. And and for the most part, I think Battlefield 6 was a hit, other than, oh, with the exception of maybe the story. A lot of people said the story wasn't, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. It was average. It was too short. I think it was like 5 hours long or something like that. And I mean, so far the game has managed to sell at least 20 mil from what I've read. It sold like 7 mil within a week, and it has earned around 1.4 billion in revenue. So it's a big deal. I mean, you look at the features that, were on Battlefield 6. You had the Conquest mode, which had like 32 versus 32 players online. You had Rush, you had Breakthrough, you had Team Deathmatch, Dominion, King of the Hill, Escalation. There was just a variety of different multiplayer game modes that people can like easily get into. And even though like the story could have been so much better, there were people who kind of liked it because they had like a retro feel to it because it reminded them of the mid 2000s or what have you. But yeah, I mean, you look at as to why EA decided to make this move. They put out some BS corporate statement that I'm not even going to read because all corporations normally do that. They put out a corporate, statement as to why they lay people off. It has something to do with like restructuring and them trying to meet their financial goals, which I think all of that's just an excuse or a scapegoat to kind of divert from the real reason as to why they're doing it. And I think for the most part, EA is in the process of going private because of the whole Saudi deal, and in the future they won't be able or not be able to. They won't have to share like certain information about like sales and like budgets and stuff like that in the future. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are really surprised about this, and I don't know, maybe it's a sign of tough times that are going to be on the way in the future in the next couple of years because obviously the world economy is not getting better. People are expecting America to collapse within the next couple of years, and maybe that's what this is. Maybe it's a cost cutting measure because they're just getting ready for tougher times in the future. But obviously, these layoffs are no indication um, on the game being a failure in any way, shape, or form because Battlefield 6 is anything but a failure. And like it sold way more than Battlefield 2042 did when it came out back in 2021. But I don't think it's quite at the level of Battlefield 1. Maybe in about another year or so, it'll probably, be at that level in terms of like sales and all that. But I heard that the player count for Battlefield 6 when it first came out was insane. Like within like 24 hours of the game's launch, there was like somewhere between 50,000 and 70,000 players. And if that's the case, then there was no way that, Black Ops 7 had a chance on touching that because I remember seeing the reveal trailers for both. Battlefield 6 look impressive. It's realism, it's graphics, um, all that stuff, the environmental mechanics, all that stuff, while Black Ops 7 kind of looked like AI slop and it was just very unappealing for the most part. So I honestly feel like Battlefield 6 is probably like the best shooter game that we have gotten within the past couple of years. And I think Battlefield as an IP and as a franchise has replaced Call of Duty as the top mainstream AAA shooter that we have in this day and age. But the thing is, it's going to be really tough for EA to top Battlefield 6 in the future.